humanity.
Yeah, they're not. They're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna get so many credit cards and loans. Denied.
Google store shipment
Oh
is
shit! I stole his debt. God damn it!
Joke's on you.
Manage show launches, updates to host and guest image specs. Wow, iTunes is going all out, ain't they?
Are they?
Yeah. And Taryn from Patreon is about to get the fucking block button. I hope you're listening, Taryn. I know you're not because it's an automated message.
We're supposed to do hashtag. What is it? Thanks for Patreon or something.
Hey, hashtag thank you patrons.
Yep.
How about a picture of a penis? How's that work out for you?
Our cock prints are a big hit.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, how are they not a big hit? I mean, come on now.
I like the way that Brodaciously put put the sticker over the sticker so that you can kind of see the top of the rooster's tail. Did you see that on Instagram?
Yeah. She told me she had to explain to her husband or boyfriend or whatever who Ed Kemper was.
Who Kemps was?
He was in for a bit of a surprise. What old Kempy's been up to?
Yeah, considering he's probably seen the art for our episodes for 80 weeks in a row.
I was like, I bet it is a little weird when you read it and it's like decapitated and fucked head. Okay, yeah, that's if you're not into true crime, that's a little bit of a.
Not only that.
Whoa.
Let's you know what? Let's take a little what's his name?
What the hell is Jay Wilson?
Jay Wilson.
Jay Wilson.
So much like Mr. Jay Wilson, he took that and doubled it when it was his own mother's head. Yeah. That's fucked up.
Wait, did he fuck his mother's head?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I know he threw her, vocal cords in the
garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Or the garburator, I found out they call it on the East Coast.
A garburator.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they call a garbage disposal.
We just got rid of ours not that long ago.
They're kind of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they do clog up and shit.
And they stink.
Yeah, they
smell
definitely
real bad.
stink.
Yep.
And I think it creates a bunch of muck. Because I remember when we were replacing that sink, at the very bottom, that the spindle piece that holds it into place was completely rotted.
Sure. Ooh, delicious.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Real quick, before we go any farther, I'm going to intro the show quick. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Bubble Butt Podcast, the only podcast on the internet that uploads weekly. Who knows what it will be about? Certainly not me. My name is Adam. And before I introduce the rest of you, it's time for an Adam's Game Corner.
Let's do it.
And that means it's Red Dead Redemption 2 wrap-up time, my friend.
Oh, shit.
You finished.
I finished, and I got so excited that I forgot to bring it with me. But
that's fine.
I was running around as John Marston before I came over, so that's all right. But I have some thoughts on that game.
Okay, let's hear them.
The last 40% of that game is so fucking sad. Mm-hmm. It's the saddest thing on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a good story, all right? The story was great. The gameplay, incredibly tedious, which I am okay with, because I love it, but it doesn't go anywhere. They make you do all this shit, and then they fucking say, fuck you, see you later. Everything you've been doing means nothing, because now all your crafting's done, and what do you do now that you're John? Can you still craft? There's no piercing.
I think you just take over basically what Arthur was doing.
Yeah.
I think all your shit carries over, right?
Yeah, except for my horse provisions, and my new horse sucks because Apple PogChamp got shot. He died at the end of the game. Right
Apple
before
PogChamp?
Yeah, because I was sitting with Max, and he was like, listen, just hit a letter, and then just autocomplete for 2 days. I wanted to give it 2 days, so I did A, Apple, P, PogChamp. My horse's name was Apple PogChamp.
Hell yeah.
And he died, and then I fought Micah.
He doesn't die, though, right?
Nah, he runs. He runs.
Because you kill him in the original game, right?
Do you kill Micah? I don't remember.
Okay, I know you kill Bill.
You kill Bill,
Javier, and then...
Dutch.
Is Dutch the last guy?
Yeah.
And then the cops, obviously.
Yeah. Well, they kill you.
So, did you do all the John quests?
Oh my God! You mean life as a farmhand?
Yeah, you want to roleplay as a farmhand?
Let me tell you, Cody, I'm doing that right now. The game just reopened up for me to where I can run around as John. And there's some missions in Blackwater, which it's funny going back to that town. It's like, holy shit, this is the exact same town from Red Dead Redemption 1. Mm-hmm. You know, I spent so much time playing poker in Blackwater. Red Dead Redemption 2, I give that, now that I have finished it, I'm going to give that 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I really think they make you do a lot of bullshit that doesn't mean anything ever.
Isn't that kind of all their games, though?
It's and the controls. I really can't get past the controls. It feels like I'm on fucking morphine.
So did you get all like the legendary creatures killed and all that?
I'm thinking about doing that when I get home tonight, honestly. Okay. I got like 4 of them. I've caught 3 of the fish, which is a fucking nightmare trying to land those bad boys.
I kind of like the fishing, but yeah, it was... Okay, did you see the UFO?
I did not see the UFO.
Okay, I think we were talking about this before, like... I was just in a building, and then it, like, glows green, and you can kind of see it through the cracks, and I go outside, and it just, like, zips off.
Oh, wait, it was in the cult, right? The church cult? Yeah, I saw the light, but never, like, I got kind of scared, and was like, and I was all alone.
You exited the game immediately?
I turned off my TV and ran away. Okay, well, that's going to do it for me and Adam's Game Corner. Also with me today is Jordan Fox, Mr. Magooed, up again. How are you, buddy?
I am fantastic.
You're soon to be a fantastic Daddy Fox, aren't you?
That's true.
Is that official now?
Yep.
It was on Instagram. It's official.
She has a private profile, okay, Cody?
I shared it.
Do you have a private profile?
I don't think so.
I think people that have private profiles are either cowards or women. Because women, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, ladies, it makes complete sense because there's so many creepers. Even, like, my personal one, I'm always getting spammed by, like, fucking robots. Yeah. It's annoying as fuck.
Valerie Hotness 4 million. Like, I've gotten so many of those.
Dude, I have not gotten one of those for so long, and it's so nice not getting them.
It was just, like, XXX DM for photos and all this shit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Hit this Western Union for pricing information.
Oh,
God. Jordan Fox, besides the fact that you are now with child, what else have you been doing this week?
Oh, man. Nothing much. Just working and living life.
Just working and jerking, my boy is.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what
what else standard boring bullshit.
That's what I like. That is what I
how
like.
I like to live my life.
I love it. Jordan, good job. Also with me, Cody.
Hello.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
How was your week?
It was great because I had yesterday off. And
well, you didn't have it off, Cody.
I took it off.
Did you call in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you didn't have it off.
No, I said...
You bailed.
I said, hey, it's dead at work.
Yeah.
I need to burn all my time off.
Yeah.
I'm taking a personal day.
Yeah.
And I sat and played Pokemon.
Pokemon, Pokémon Monsters.
And watched, I watched the final Paranormal Activity movie.
What's it called?
The Ghost Dimension.
Whoa.
It's not terrible... But it's, you see the priest get, like, sucked into hell and just murdered, so...
I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I seen Hereditary, right?
Ooh, I love it.
It's
or as
fucking
Cody says...
Heredity.
Yeah.
And Herschel, because I introduced him to that as well. I gotta tell you, that's real scary and real good. It's not scary, but it's fucking unsettling.
You need to watch it twice.
I've watched it 3 times.
Oh, you watched 3? Yeah. Okay, then perfect. You got, like, every time I watch it, I catch more stuff.
Yep.
And I like it even more.
I need to find somebody else to show it to again so I can not watch the movie again and just, like, watch everything around the movie to see what else I'm missing.
Have you watched Midsummer yet?
No, I'm waiting for after Thanksgiving.
You need to watch that. That's a same director.
It is. A24 Films.
I can't remember the guy's name. He's only did a couple movies right now, but yeah, that movie's like in my top 3 favorite movies.
That was a fast turnaround, though, wasn't it? Because wasn't it like Hereditary and then the next...
like 2 years.
No, 2018 was Hereditary. I suppose, but they hit the festival circuit with it first.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because I remember, I can clearly remember last podcast was talking about how it's like... It's a horror movie that finally, like, recaptures the old good horror movies.
Man, I don't even know. I've never seen a horror movie like that.
I'm trying to think. Like, I guess, You could put Silence of the Lambs in there. You could put, like, those are, like, upper tier horror movies. And this one just, like...
And there's not a single jump scare in the whole fucking movie. Not a single one.
You didn't jump when the guy gets caught on fire? When she throws the book in there and he just fucking goes up in flames?
I mean, I kind of laughed, because it was kind of funny. Because he's like... just turned it into a fucking crispy man.
Okay, when her head pops off, did that get you? She hits the telephone pole?
Yeah, well, it shocked me.
Yeah.
It shocked me. But I wouldn't consider that a jump scare. Like, even the scary shit in the corners. Like, when when they're just, like, when the grandma's there, or when Charlie's there, and then her head falls off, and it's a ball. Like, that's fucking awesome.
That is.
I'm a very, very big fan of that movie, and that guy. I'll probably watch everything he does from now.
The music, I think, because when it's about to get something, it's like it slowly builds up and slowly builds up. You know something's going to be coming.
Oh,
sometimes I think he jukes you a few times, but
Toni Collette should have an Oscar, an Emmy, whatever they give away for acting, because that was so good.
I remember I was looking for like some artwork for that movie, and someone had painted her like screaming in that point. It was so good. It's so beautiful. I would have loved it, but it was very expensive, obviously.
Fuck me. Fuck me. What a movie. And what a game. All right, that does everything. We're about 12 minutes in, so I got an idea, Cody.
Let's fire. Let's go into this.
Let's take this motherfucker out the gate.
All right. So I can't really give much detail on the story because it's kind of like a reveal story, so we got to kind of go along with the mystery. But I'm calling it... No, I'm not even going to tell you what I'm calling it.
All right. Well, I think the audience might know, unless you have another clever title.
I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about that. Right, maybe they'll know, but...
Good.
Our story begins in the hipster capital of the world, where wax mustaches and flannel are king, Portland, Oregon. The date is April 15th, 1955, at approximately 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's a good time.
The gang goes to Portland.
I could see Jordan living here. I really could. A gentleman named...
Portland? Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. He'll get a bicycle and ride it around.
Definitely.
A gentleman named Aaron Frank, whom was the owner of Portland's largest department store named Meyer and Frank, was enjoying a pleasant read through an extortion letter.
That doesn't sound pleasant at all, Cody.
Well, at the time it might have been cool.
Unless he wrote it, you know.
So I looked up Meyer and Frank, and okay, the quick history. They went out of business. Macy's bought them, and then Macy's shut down the store, and now it's a historical building that I'm pretty sure is an apartment complex.
Wow.
But it's like really,
lofts,
really tall.
Hipster lofts,
yeah,
probably.
Basically.
Is Macy's a Minnesota company?
Yes.
It is. And so is Bloomingdale's?
I don't think Bloomingdale's.
Wait, not Bloomingdale's.
Herberger's.
No, what's the one that had the department store? Was that Macy's?
Sears?
Macy's department store? You would go to the Christmas exhibit in St. Paul or something?
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Remember
Macy's.
the Macy's Day Parade?
Yeah,
What's
Macy's
Dayton's?
downtown.
That's what I'm thinking of. Because the goddamn governor, I knew it was
Dayton's was in
Mark
St.
Macy.
Paul, and then Macy's was the big one in downtown Minneapolis.
Is that how he got his money?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He is like the dynastic heir to the Dayton fortune.
Are they still around?
I don't know.
I think they're...
Maybe a name?
They got bought by someone.
Well.
Or another, like, they might have gotten bought by Macy's.
Listen, it's not a sellout. It's a cash-in, baby.
Yep.
All right. He was about halfway through the letter when all of a sudden there was a large explosion. The blast had shaken the entire 12-story building. Someone had placed a bomb within the third-story bathroom and sent glass, bricks, tile, fragmented porcelain, faucets, pipes, and pieces of wood flying over 100 feet onto the street.
Damn!
Jesus. Not fucking around on that.
He's not playing. A Dorothy Ostro was slightly injured when she was hit by a piece of glass from the explosion while she was walking up the steps of the Pioneer Branch post office nearby.
Yeah.
That's why I say never go to the post office.
Yeah,
just go to the drive-thru.
South St. Paul post office, there's still bullet holes from when it got robbed in 1891.
That has to be...
And it's a fallout shelter.
Yes, there is a fallout shelter.
That has to be the oldest post office I've ever seen.
And it looks like shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was remodeled in 1969 and then forgotten about.
Just left it alone. Naturally, she ducked down while the blast debris fell all around her. She would need 15 stitches on her face and would leave a nasty scar for the rest of her life.
Want to know how I got these scars?
Is this the creation of the Joker now? Inside the department store, the 62-year-old janitor, or custodian, named Emil Hansen, was just opening the bathroom door when it exploded and blew him backwards. The store owner, Aaron Frank, was helping check for casualties after the blast and stumbled upon Emil. Emil told him,
"I don't know what happened, Mr. Frank. I went in to wash the windows and everything blew up."
I like how he's like, I swear I was going to wash those windows. I was going to wash those fucking windows.
I was not going to read this Maxim magazine. I was going to wash those windows.
Shockingly, Emil and Dorothy would be the only people to sustain any injuries, but even then they were minor. As one would expect, the police and fire department were called onto the scene to investigate. One extra sneaky reporter snuck into the building to investigate for himself and witnessed the powder-burned walls in the bathroom and overheard a female clerk talking about
the smell of firecrackers.
The two officers who would be in charge of this mysterious bombing were Police Chief Jim Purcell and Captain of Detectives Bill Brown. I thought that was a weird title. Captain of
Detectives.
I'm the captain of detectives here. Now, Aaron Frank obviously would show them the extortion letter that he had received just before the blast went off.
I hope he would.
The letter itself had the words in large, bold print, important. It continued to read,
"About the time you receive this, a bomb will explode in your store. This is only a warning. A second, more powerful charge of explosives has been hidden and set by an accurate timing device to explode sometime in the 12 hours ending at noon, April 16th.
Sounds like Die Hard, right?
Yes.
Die Hard with a Vengeance? Isn't this what the guy did?
Is he, it sounds like he's trying to, like, hide his way of speaking.
Wait till we get who the bad guy is. You guys are going to be, he's fun. He's really fun.
Is it
I
Emil?
like it.
We have to, like, get to him.
Now, I can't remember if you said this or not, but were there any casualties so far?
No, only those two people were hurt, and that's
Perfect.
it.
Beautiful. That's a good bombing, then, in my opinion.
Actually, I'll let you guys in on a secret. No killings this week.
Perfect.
So,
I like it.
unleash the humor.
Unleash the funny bones.
All right.
The extortionist was demanding $50,000, and in turn, he would inform Aaron Frank how to dismantle the second bomb, and he would never again bother the store with threats of a bomb.
But he will bother it with threats of upper deckers.
I will shit in every toilet till I get that $50,000, Mr. Frank. Now, Frank was supposed to have $50,000 in 5s, 10s, and $20 bills and put them in a light-colored suitcase just large enough to hold the money. Also, no more than half of the money could be in $20 bills.
Listen, I've never seen 50 grand in cash.
It's probably not that much, right?
But, I mean, I'd imagine in like 5, 10s, and 20s, that's going to be a lot of fucking bills.
It's just like, why would you demand, just put the money in the case? Who gives a fuck what kind of bills?
You gotta make those demands.
I guess.
It's like
non-sequential $1 bills.
It's like when bands put crazy shit in their riders. It's to make sure they're fucking following their instructions to a T.
Yep.
So
Good point.
that's, make them go through some extra hoops to make sure they're doing it right.
Good point. A store representative was instructed to then take the briefcase and stand in front of the Imperial Hotel between 6:30 and 7 p.m. and wait there for 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, they were supposed to wear a white carnation in their lapel to mark their identity for the extortionist to see.
Okay, now they're doing too much. Now this is too much.
I feel like Jordan would wear a white carnation in his lapel. I don't know.
In Portland,
Yeah, I was
definitely.
going to say,
for
in Portland,
sure.
I think he might be setting himself up for failure finding the store representative.
Then he was supposed to proceed to the telephone booth 2 blocks north, where he would receive a call with further instructions.
Jesus.
He takes him on quite an adventure, I promise
This is
you.
goddamn. This is nuts.
Also, the extortionist made sure to state that the person carrying the money must not be a police officer.
That should go without saying, sir.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to ransoms and stuff, that's just like, please don't be a cop. It's always a cop, you morons.
I am a professional extortionist, so do not make that a cop.
I've listened to the band The Extortionist.
Is that a band?
Nope, Contortionist.
Oh,
a little different, just a little bit.
Both very important to society.
Isn't
Extortionist and contortionist.
Is a contortionist like a gymnast?
Yeah, like Cirque du Soleil shit.
Like the ribbon people? Remember when we were talking about them?
And that's rhythmic gymnastics, and no, not like that at all.
Now, the department store did well over $50,000 a day, and to Aaron Frank, he would much rather just pay the ransom than have his store blown up.
Sure.
But of course, the police took the store's $50,000 in cash and decided to send one of their own. They chose a rookie police officer by the name of Paul Leans. Now, in their minds, because of the fact that Paul was new, if this was a seasoned extortionist who perhaps knew the police officers already, hopefully he wouldn't recognize Paul. Now, prior to the delivery...
Very smart.
Right. Now, prior to the delivery, the bomb squad was searching through the debris for evidence of what exactly caused the explosion. They concluded that it was most likely just several sticks of dynamite that had been taped together with a slow-burning fuse. In their opinion, this bomb was not made by a professional, and in turn, there was most likely not another bomb in the store waiting to explode.
You know what? There's probably not another bomb, so fuck it, just carry on business as usual.
Right, like there's no timer. It wasn't set up for anything
honestly,
like that.
Honestly, for 1955, these cops actually did police work. Yeah, maybe it was just Oregon. I don't know.
They know that if this guy's fucked up enough to lead this guy on a James Bond chase this, maybe he knows the active duty roster for the police.
Either way, 5 hours after the bomb went off, Officer Paul Leans was decked out in a business suit equipped with the white carnation and a cream-colored briefcase containing the $50,000. As instructed, he stood in front of the Imperial Hotel for 5 minutes. Of course, there were police officers literally everywhere to spot the mysterious extortionist. After the 5 minutes, Paul walked to the payphone he was instructed to.
Paul Walker.
I didn't even catch that.
Rest in peace.
And at 7:08 p.m., the phone rang. A man with a nervous, medium-high, and rather soft voice gave him a prearranged password and instructed him to return to the Imperial Hotel and feel under the seat of the third phone booth in the lobby.
Wow.
Then after that, you have to go to the corner store and find the oldest can of tuna.
We've got about 3 or 4 more steps this guy's going to take us on.
Find the oldest can. Open it. Inside will be your next clue.
Before he left the first payphone, Paul left a note, crumpled it up, and tossed it on the ground for the officers to find. After Paul made his way to the Imperial Hotel's payphone, he found the envelope. It contained a key and a note. The note read,
"Go to the Union Station. There, go to baggage locker 107. In the locker, find a brown manila envelope. Inside is another envelope with a note for further instructions."
God damn it.
Why the 2 envelopes?
Yeah, hold on. We're not done with the chase quite yet here.
I know. I fucking hope not.
Obviously, Paul did the same thing as he did before, leaving little crumpled up papers for the other police officers. Paul then made his way to the railroad station baggage locker, opened it up, and once again found another note. This one instructed him to hire a yellow cab company taxi that did not have a 2-way radio.
How do you go about scheduling that?
I don't know. He had to find it.
You just got to keep flagging them down until...
It had to have one without a 2-way radio. I don't know.
Okay.
He was then to cross the Willamette River.
I'm sorry, I only know that because of All Fantasy Everything.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Dead Rising.
No, you're right. The town of Willamette.
Yeah. I love that game.
Hell yeah.
And then take Highway 99E to Eugene, Oregon, which was going to be a 125-mile trek. The note continued by stating, that the cab driver should not exceed a speed of 25 miles per hour.
Well, that's going to draw more suspicion.
That's going to take so goddamn long to get there.
We'll find out why he wants that later on. Somewhere on the journey to Eugene, a car would pull behind the cab, flash its lights 3 times. This was a signal for the cab to
pull to the side of the road. The right rear door is to be opened, and the bags set down outside without anybody getting out.
This is going to work.
Then you will return at 15 miles an hour and find a goose.
Finger bang a goose 2 miles ahead.
Bring that to Seattle.
Let the man smell the goose poop on your finger, and he will lick a message onto the back of your hand.
The next note is in the goose's ass. Follow that. After the drop, the cabbie was supposed to travel another 5 miles and then turn around and return to Portland. If no contact was made prior to reaching Eugene, the cabbie should turn around and continue back to Portland, once again traveling at 25 miles an hour.
This is an expensive cab ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on the police's dime.
Listen, man, he's got 50 G's in that suitcase.
Now, it took some time for Paul to actually find a taxi without a two-way radio. Not that it really mattered, because cops would literally be trailing it the entire time. The cab driver's name was Donald Halfman, and he agreed to go on this adventure with Paul Leans.
Fuck it, I got time.
I got shit else to do.
My wife left me last week. Hop in.
Now, traveling at 25 miles per hour, it was going to take 5 hours to reach Eugene, and they didn't even know if the extortionist was even going to make an attempt to exchange the money. Obviously, when the cab is driving at a slow speed, it didn't make it hard for the cops to trail them in their unmarked police vehicles, obviously.
I hope so. I hope there's not a fleet of fucking cop cars.
All right, boys, just put these... lights on, and then everyone will get out of our way and know that something's up.
Don't worry about this flying V of this normal car and 90 cops behind it.
A reporter covering the case later wrote,
"The tale was not hard, because a king-size traffic jam quickly built up behind the dawdling taxi. At one point, cars had been blocked back for a 2-mile stretch. One irate truck driver passed and cut in so sharply that Leans recalled afterward, if that taxi driver hadn't seen him coming, slammed on the brakes, the story would have ended right there."
Yeah, you're going to piss people off on a major highway going that fucking slow.
Yes.
And apparently it was just a 2-lane road. So it's
fantastic.
Like, oof.
And if you're in a no-passing zone...
Yeah, oof.
Hachi-machi.
Either way, Paul and the taxi would drive all the way to Eugene and back to Portland without so much as even a sign the extortionist was attempting to make contact.
God damn it. This dude's a world-class troll.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy is an awesome troll.
Yeah.
After the little adventure, the extortionists had taken the police on. They weren't sure where to turn next. They were expecting that he might pop up again, but that didn't seem to happen. The police continued to search through the department store and didn't uncover a single thing that would lead them to believe that there was another bomb anywhere, and assumed this was clearly a novice at work.
A what?
Novice. Wait, can you say it both ways?
Yeah, probably. But
Novice?
Nobody would ever say novice.
Novice? Okay.
Unless you were unfamiliar with the
I think it's
language.
because when I remember playing video games as a young kid, I'd be like, okay, let's put on Novice.
Yes, novice. Yeah. Hey, I used to call Natalia from GoldenEye Natalita because I had no fucking idea.
A quick side note, I was... Sometimes I get bored and it like popped up on my feed and it was like, these people broke the unbreakable GoldenEye speedrun records, and it was like watching it and they're like shooting Natalia to get her to like move a little bit just so she could run out the door fast.
Yep.
And I'm like, who comes up with this shit? Jesus.
There's this crazy guy named like R White Goose 55 and he's a nut. Like he came up with all this shit.
Really? For GoldenEye?
Uh-huh. And how you're like mostly just looking at the bottom right corner and shooting to go like 1 pixel faster. It's like, what is going on?
Actually, they have all the Bond movies on Hulu. I was watching GoldenEye because it was like my favorite one.
It's a good one.
So good.
It's a good one. People hate Pierce, but...
Really?
Because he's the Bond I grew up with. I like him.
I like GoldenEye, and I think the other two are not good.
Yeah.
But GoldenEye's got like...
Yeah, what is it? Tomorrow Never Dies and...
The world is not enough. Yeah. Not
See,
great.
I was a fan of Moonraker.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's like Sean Connery, I think, right? Or is that
Roger Moore?
Roger Moore. I think it might be Roger Moore. So they began looking into any known bomb extortionists. The two main men couldn't have done it because one was in jail in Mexico and one was in jail in San Quentin.
That's going to make it tough.
And all the others were nowhere near Portland at all. Now, they did have two employees who had spotted a man and a woman just prior to the bombs going off, but they didn't really get a good look at their face. They just saw it was a man and a woman.
Gotcha.
Now, they determined that the store didn't have another bomb. It would finally reopen on April 17th, 1955, 2 days after the first bomb went off.
Quick turnaround.
And, of course, officers were stationed everywhere in case that pesky extortionist decided to plant another bomb, but he would never try again. Aaron Frank decided he would offer his own $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the bomber. On top of that, the Portland banks chipped in an additional $3,000 towards the reward.
Wow.
Jesus.
So they really want this guy.
I think no harm, no foul. I think we just let this go.
Just like we just had a bomber, just let him go.
You know what? He was pretty inventive. He was pretty fun. He made us look into a bunch of places. I bet the cops fucking were having a thrill of a time chasing this one down.
I can't wait till we get to who this guy is. It's gonna blow your guys' mind.
I bet I know who it is.
I think I do too.
It's Timo.
Who's Timo?
Timo and Frank. Isn't that the other guy? Miller?
Meyer and Frank?
Oh, yeah. Timo Meyer's a hockey player.
I don't know who Meyer is. Like, they don't mention him at all. It's just Mr. Aaron Frank. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Now, it would make sense that the police would be curious if possibly a disgruntled employee could have done this. Aaron Frank told the police,
"We have a perfect relationship with our employees. We have no labor troubles, and no disgruntled employee has recently been discharged."
I don't believe him at all,
What?
but...
If Paul Walzer said that, you wouldn't?
No!
You wouldn't believe
All our
him?
employees love their job, even though most of them have like a 4% or less on the happiness scale at work.
Oh, hey. Remember how they used to give out $500 gift cards for a 10-year?
Yeah.
I got $150 worth of, like, Applebee's or Target gift cards. That's what they
Those
gave
are
me
your
for
two
my,
options?
Yeah. That's what they gave me for my 10-year
Target's fine. I don't know about Applebee's.
I wanted a $500 Visa cash card is what I wanted for my fucking 10 years of
I thought they
service.
gave you like a shitty watch for 10 years.
I don't want that either.
I think I have one more year.
There's nothing wrong with Applebee's gift cards.
God.
You know how long it would take you to spend $150 at Applebee's?
Listen,
Easy,
this is a
because
bar.
I'd walk in there and throw it at somebody and walk away because fuck America's Bar and Grill. I hate it.
It's 15 margaritas, right?
Ugh.
Or are those $5 each?
I think you get 20.
Oh, there we go. So on top of that, the police would search deeper into the employees and found out that not a single one of them had a criminal record. Going back to the payphones that Paul Leans used during his little adventure, they were able to somewhat trace where the calls were coming from, but they were just from other payphones. On top of that, they couldn't find any distinctive fingerprints, probably because so many people used payphones back then.
I can't even imagine a time like that anymore.
I'm sure they found things disgusting on those.
I'm watching The Wire right now.
Ooh,
and it's fucking,
yeah.
Dude, I think the last time I used a payphone was in high school, like after wrestling practice. Press 0. Practice is done. Come pick me up.
Yeah. Bandors, come get me. You're receiving a call from Bandors, come get me.
What about the dynamite? Could that possibly be traced back to someone? Firstly, most of that was destroyed, and secondly, they set up a mock bathroom in a field. This sounds like a really fun experiment, honestly. I just want to go somewhere and blow shit up and try to find out what caused it.
See what it looks like.
How do you blow up a bathroom? Well, Adam Savage and Janie Heineman are going to tell you on today's episode of Mythbusters.
So, obviously, they did this in an attempt to try to find out what type of dynamite they used. Well, in the end, they determined it was roughly 8 to 10 sticks of dynamite, and it was ordinary grade dynamite. I don't know.
Not a mining grade.
Okay, is mining grade different? Okay.
Mining charges are pretty
bigger?
nuts. Yeah.
Much bigger?
Even if they're the same size, their chemical load is
Big?
is harder. Yeah.
Well, it was also commonly used by farmers and building contractors, and nobody who had purchased dynamite recently warranted any further investigation.
All right. I'm sure there's a federal list for...
I'm assuming you can't... You have to, like, have all these permits to buy dynamite now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, all farmers can't just go buy to blow gophers out of their fields?
I don't think so.
Oh, Bessie's being a real bitch in the field there. I just gotta, scare the milk out of her.
Is that how you do it with a dynamite load, Jordan?
Yeah, dude.
That's how you get cottage cheese.
You guys milk cows weird in Wisconsin, dude.
That's how you get...
Is that cottage cheese?
Yeah,
okay.
Because they get scared and they're like, ah! And then it curdles up in their udders.
So, they were running out of leads to follow. The last thing that they had were the letters themselves, that just so happened to be typed out using a typewriter. Now, typewriters all leave their own unique signature. The experts would determine that it was typed on a Royal Standard typewriter, which at the time there was about 3 million in circulation.
Easy.
And at the time in Portland, there were literally thousands of them being used everywhere from schools, colleges, businesses, and professional office. It was going to be a daunting task.
Got to drag the goddamn city for typewriters.
I didn't really understand, but apparently, like, each typewriter types just slightly different. Like, it's the same brand, but they all type just slightly different.
Xeroxes have that, too. That's how people are getting caught. Yep.
Well, if you can guess where this is going.
I think I know. I think they're going to pool together the best typists in Portland, and they're going to subpoena every goddamn typewriter out
every
there.
typist in the city of Portland.
They're going to collect them all, put them in a room, just like on The Simpsons with Mr. Burns, and have a bunch of monkeys just clacking away.
Eventually we'll get Shakespeare.
Are you the only person in the world who still watches The Simpsons, Jordan?
I actually haven't watched it for a long time, but that was like my favorite show growing up, so...
Okay, I'll give you a pass.
During Halloween month, you could watch every Treehouse of Horror on Comcast.
Those are. I feel like those are always good.
Always good.
Yeah.
Like, the regular episodes, maybe not, but the horror ones are always good.
Yeah.
Like when they're all zombies and looking for brains, and then they knock on Homer's head and just keep walking.
That's solid. That's fucking gold.
The lead detective would enlist the help of 2 postal inspectors who apparently could spot similarities in keystroke types.
Oh.
They would go through all of the Better Business Bureau's records and set aside any keystroke identifiers.
God.
Then those close matches would be sent to the FBI for further investigation. Now
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yes.
What a terrible fucking job.
It sounds terrible. Now, the following October, nearly 6 months after the bombing, they took notice of a well-known 38-year-old Portland resident named Clarence Petticord.
He sounds like a dandy.
He sounds like a real fop.
Little Clarence Petticord.
Yeah.
Whose stationery matched exactly what was being used in the extortion letters.
Did it say Clarence Petticord at the top? And they just realized it now.
From the desk of Clarence Pettiford.
You're going to find out how they got him. Now, Clarence used the specific stationery for his business he ran out of his home.
He sells stuff for you on eBay. That's his business.
It's not far off.
Have you heard about the healing powers of essential oils? It works body wraps.
I was going to say, very first Herbalife seller ever.
Oh, perfect.
That's what I was looking for.
Obviously, the detectives were ecstatic about this and thought they had found the man they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
There was just one huge glaring problem that made the detectives pause and think about it for a moment. And that problem was that Clarence Petticord was a blind man.
Okay. Yeah, how is he going to go to the third phone booth at the left?
This feels like dynamite. Yes. Sir, why is there a bunch of dildos taped together in your bathroom?
I'm sorry, Clarence.
Blowing up dildos in here.
You're not the man, Clarence.
But even though Clarence was a blind man, it didn't mean he wasn't a bit of a criminal. Mm-hmm. Now, Clarence was born in New Mexico in 1917 and was the youngest of 5 children.
What, being the youngest is a crime now?
He's a troublemaker.
Just like skateboarding, man.
Now, Clarence was not born blind. When he was 19 years old, he was working on a refrigeration unit when a coil burst and sprayed sulfur dioxide all over his eyes. A reporter later said,
"A doctor was called by friends, but while Petticoat lay writhing in pain, the doctor prescribed only plenty of sunshine and fresh air."
What the fuck?
It was Petticoat himself who called an ambulance, but even as he was rushed to the hospital, he realized it was too late. The last clear view of the world he had was inside of that ambulance.
"Oh, that's sad."
What did they just... Let's just get him to a well-ventilated area. He'll be okay.
They used basically...
Just need some vitamin D, bro.
They basically gave him the cure for TB back then.
Yes.
Like, you need sunshine and fresh air.
Yes.
I don't care if your eyes are fucking bleeding. Just get some fresh air.
He became fucking Daredevil that day.
But Clarence was determined to not let his disability hold him back in life.
In his life of crime.
Hold on.
Okay.
In 1938, an ad agency gave Clarence a seeing eye dog he named Duke.
Oh, is this that little bastard that always tries to steal the Bush's Beans recipes?
Oh, I bet it is. You son of a bitch.
Duke.
Duke framed Clarence.
Duke and Clarence were best of pals. They even climbed to the top of Beacon Rock in the Columbia River Gorge in Washington.
Wow.
Twice.
Wow.
Oh.
Which got him publicity in the local news in Vancouver, Washington. Later that same year, a charity organization helped Clarence establish a candy machine vending business all around Vancouver.
Oh, we have that here. Like, a lot of those little, like, turny, like, quarter machines where you get, like, Mike and Ike's and shit.
Oh, you think that's what they're referring to? Like the shitty, like, quarter ones?
Yeah, well, I know, here in the Twin Cities, like, those are set up mainly by a company called Services for the Blind, and it's, you know, for the blind people to maintain.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Well, Clarence was a fucking, trendsetter, I guess.
Yeah, man.
In 1939, there was a story in the papers that the Sing Sing prison in New York was looking for a new executioner.
Yeah.
Now that Clarence, feeling the joy of publicity, decided that he and Duke should apply for the position. So Clarence set out his application for the job, which included a picture of himself and Duke. But unfortunately, he was turned down for the job. He didn't even get a call back.
I'm sure there's
That's
like
when I decided to start carrying out my own executions.
I'm sure there's some kind of law. Like, can you face your executioner or something?
I don't know. Doesn't he
Okay.
just flip a switch?
I mean, I don't know. It seems immoral to let a blind man kill people.
What if he was responsible for the beheadings?
That would be rad.
He had like a claymore and he was just cutting off their head.
Just
You let
like
this
in
blind
weird
man-
spots, yeah.
All right, Duke, bark where I'm supposed to swing this at. Clarence later said,
I would hate to think what I would do if I got the job, but I've tried everything else in my search for work.
soon after this, Clarence would marry his high school sweetheart, Lucy Dillabaugh, and would have one child, but divorced within a year.
Womp womp.
By 1941, his candy machine business had grown so much that he needed to hire a driver to help him manage all the machines.
Hell yeah.
Duke, you're up.
He hired a lady by the name of Dorothy Mae McCourtney. I can't. And the two would soon marry.
And the two would soon marry later? What does that even mean?
I don't know. And the two would be married soon later. I don't know. They got married after they found their passion for candy vending machines.
Perfect.
See that? What was so hard about
I don't
just
know.
saying that, Cody?
You know I have dyslexia.
You're trying to be
Leave
a
me alone.
wordsmith, and we know you're just not there for that.
You're right. You're very right.
The two would marry soon later. You're Charlie, man.
With World War II in full force,
You can't fight the war, bro. Your eyes don't work, bro.
hold on, the government was rationing sugar It really hurt Clarence's candy business, and it soon fell apart completely. So the couple would run a lunch stand near a Portland shipyard. They were actually able to make a fairly modest living doing this at the time.
All right.
Honestly, they should have invented homies and put them in the vending machines.
Homies?
Yeah, that you used to get in the little capsules. They were little gangsters.
Oh, yeah. Or like the things you throw at the wall and they stick on
the stick'ems. Yeah.
Or the little hands that stick that you come
or
back.
the temporary tramp stamp tattoos. There we go.
Now he missed his calling.
But when one of the employees of the shipyard poisoned his dog Duke and killed him.
Fuck you.
What? Why?
Yeah, we don't know why.
Baked bean theft.
Right, he stole
He's
his
the
recipe
hitman from the bushes.
It sounded like these might have been soldiers who were at the shipyard, but I'm not entirely sure. Someone just poisoned his dog for like no fucking reason.
Sound like just hard shipmen.
Probably.
Union men.
They probably thought it'd be funny. Let's poison the dog. Clarence immediately closed down his lunch stand, and people say that Clarence was changed forever.
He could see again.
It seemed to break him. His wife Dorothy later said,
"He got it in his mind that if he could see again, he could get a job in a war plant and make some money. But he couldn't get a job, and after the death of his dog, he began to get bitter."
Clarence's plan was to receive a cornea transplant from a doctor who had operated on him before, but he needed to get the money to pay for it. This is what gave him enough desperation to jump into the illegal side of making money.
Sure.
First, in 1945, Clarence had lived in California for a brief period. He rented the same house out to a whole bunch of people and planned to flee with all of their security deposits. But the police quickly arrested him in Washington, where he had fled to.
Listen, man, that's not a terrible idea.
Nope.
How much security deposits can you get? I mean, it didn't say how many people he signed up for this one house.
Say you get 5, jump ship.
I guess.
Give everybody keys and be like, have fun.
Yep. And then hopefully that'll be enough for a down payment for that surgery.
Ooh, he needs a lot.
Oh.
His punishment was to return to California and go back to his wife.
Ugh.
Dorothy said,
"I'd have left him before that, but they charged me too and told me if I would plead guilty, he would not have to do any time. I pleaded guilty and they turned us both loose."
This makes no sense. Why? I don't know. Okay, you guys both plead guilty and you get the hell out of here.
Is it just like some kind of pride thing for the state?
Don't know.
Like, we need to be right.
Yeah, I guess. Clarence then attempted to get into the popcorn business, but that did not work out for him. Clarence then tried to...
Who gets into the popcorn game?
He's just trying everything.
One of my friends' wives, actually.
Remember the Boy Scouts buckets?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's doing.
I'll be God's honest with you. If they sold beef jerky, they would get my money every year. Boy Scouts, beef jerky. Why the fuck would you sell pre-made popcorn tins? Nobody wants that.
The girls have a stranglehold.
Cookies?
Yeah.
The cookies, yeah.
The cookie mafia.
Listen, you get me them peanut butter patties, ooh, it's over. I will buy you out.
I want the Thin Mints.
Fuck Thin Mints.
I'll eat them all.
Clarence then tried to sell a battery restorative called New Charge.
New Charge.
I don't know how the fuck this shit works, but I don't know.
Okay.
But when the battery companies found out about it, he was forced to close down his operations.
Big battery.
So he made a magic fucking...
It's like if you use this, it will restore the power in your batteries. Wow. That's what he was telling people.
Wow. Interstate was probably like, we don't know if it works, but we can't take that chance.
Mm-hmm.
In 1948, Clarence came up with a new plan. He would hitchhike from Portland to New York City to raise money for his cornea surgery. He figured the story of a blind man walking across the country would get the attention of the media.
But if he's hitchhiking, he's not walking.
True.
Well, he said walking. I don't know. He'd have to walk a little bit.
Listen, the man knows how to sell a story.
That's
okay,
true.
That's true.
And it did get the attention of the media. The newspaper took to the story like a fly on shit. Clarence used the sympathy card saying that he was down on his luck and he needed to save his wife and children from the poorhouse, which technically was kind of true. When Clarence reached Detroit, he was asked to be a guest on a radio show to tell his story. It reminded me of Joe Dirt, kind of.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Joe
I
Dirt.
like Van Halen, not Van Hagar.
He's like, Clarence Petticord. Interesting name. Well, it caught the attention of a wealthy businessman in Saratoga Springs, New York, who offered to pay for his cornea surgery. Now, Clarence went through with the surgery, and they would only do one eye at a time. By mid-December of 1948, it was finally time to remove the bandages. Clarence said,
"It was wonderful for a minute. The doctor took the bandages off. I opened my eyes. The miracle I had been waiting 12 long years for had happened. I could see. Sunlight was streaming across the ceiling right at my eye. The doctor was only going to cut the stitches, but I didn't know that, and I jerked my head back.
No.
I jarred my eye. It began bleeding inside, and I was blind again."
You fucking idiot.
This is, how did you do that, sir?
You knuckle fuck.
He could see for like 2 seconds, and then he poked himself in the eye. It's like, you got one job. Don't touch your eye, sir. And don't jar a fucking knife into the eye right after surgery. God. All right.
I mean, at the same time, he said he didn't know the doctor was cutting the stitches. The doctor should have been like, "I'm going to cut the stitches. Do not move."
Yeah,
but
you
like,
haven't seen for a while. I'm coming at you with a knife.
Right. I suppose Clarence wouldn't know that when a doctor is doing that, he's generally doing that to help you with something.
Yeah, he's not coming to stab your new eyeball out.
Are you one of Jeff Bezos' ninjas? Get out of here.
Is this 1950s prank?
Where's Ashton?
The doctor promised that in 6 months he would operate on his eye again if he could raise the money.
Fuck you.
So Clarence returned to Portland and went right back to his fraudulent schemes. He began a company he called Metro Chemical Laboratories.
Smart.
Which advertised distributorships for a soap that could extend the life of women's nylons.
He's all about that extending life stuff, isn't he?
I don't know.
You know what he doesn't want to extend the life of? His fucking eyes.
No. He then tried to sell distributorships for a product that could extend the life of batteries, similar to his old New Charge business.
They're not going to get me this time.
What is this stuff? Like a cream?
I don't know. It must be something. Maybe it's like a liquid you put in the battery acid. I don't know.
In the cells itself?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you rubbing down the outside of your batteries with something?
I don't know. Like, what kind of a soap could extend the life of women's nylons?
I have no idea.
And why is a company called Metro Chemical Laboratories selling it?
That's a perfect, cover front business
name. It sounds professional.
Yeah.
It's just like
But
Ecolab.
it sounds very, very vague.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Which Metro? Which chemicals? Who knows?
It was with Metro Chemical Laboratories that Clarence had learned to type as a blind man. Now, since Metro Chemical Laboratories was a scam, more or less, he quickly compiled around 80 to 100 complaints from customers that then forwarded those to the Better Business Bureau, and then they shut down his company. So that's
I
how
didn't know
they
the
got...
BBB could shut down your business.
In 1955, probably.
They had a lot of sway before the internet existed.
Yeah. After that, around April of 1955, Clarence began to sell pencils in public venues and was receiving aid from the state for being blind, but it just wasn't enough to support his wife and their 5 children.
Fuck.
This is when Clarence reached an all-time low of desperation to get the money and came up with the Meyer and Frank extortion letter and bombing.
I can't believe he actually is the one.
Yeah,
I was like, he's a blind man. He didn't set up no bombs and type no letters and put shit under the fucking
For a blind man, he's very
booth.
Capable.
He's handy capable.
How do you sell pencils as a blind man?
That seems like a blind man shtick.
Listen,
like stickers,
this
pencils.
feels like the finest pencil in the world.
Oh, true.
The number 3 pencil. You ever seen one of these bad boys?
Ooh, this is a new pencil. It restores the life of your other pencils.
With the FBI being able to confirm that the stationery used in the extortion letter was the exact same that Clarence used for his Metro Chemical Laboratories, it was time to make an arrest. This was written later about the arrest.
It was a sad-faced group of detectives and postal inspectors who made their way out to the flimsy little dwelling in a temporary war housing unit to talk to the man. All of them knew Petticord. He had been a familiar and tragic figure on the streets of Portland for many years, peddling his wares and showing each year more and more of the strain that came from trying to live with the accident that had scarred him in his youth. The grim purpose of their visit was not lightened by the concerned look of the women who opened the door, nor by the questioning faces of the 5 little Petticords, ranging age from 2 to 12. And it was almost more than the authorities could do to go ahead with their mission when they saw the pathetic little Christmas tree with its handful of tinsel and the few cheap gifts set out under a window.
Oh, man. I know, this story kind of gets really sad. The man who would arrest Clarence was Captain Brown, and he said this was...
Captain of Detectives,
Captain
Brown.
of Detective. He said this was the most heartbreaking arrest of his career.
Yeah, how could it not be?
And he said that when they were taking Clarence out, he allowed him to hug all his children, basically say goodbye to him forever. Mm-hmm. Very sad. Now, the police had suspected that Clarence had to have an accomplice, especially because he was blind. So while on the way to the police station, Captain Brown rolled the dice and asked Clarence sternly who his accomplice was.
It was Duke. We faked his death.
Zombie Duke back from the dead.
Yeah.
It worked, and perhaps without meaning to, he spouted out the name Joyce Keller, whom was his sister-in-law. The reason he chose her was because he knew that she was already a little bit of a lawbreaker herself, and she for sure was going to keep her mouth shut.
She got horny about breaking the law, is what it sounds like.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, after Clarence kind of realized what he had done, he immediately tried to retract saying that Joyce was involved at all. But it didn't matter because his 28-year-old sister-in-law would be arrested as well. Now, Clarence was fully confessing at this point, but would not use Joyce's name directly. Joyce, on the other hand, was a steel vault and was denying any involvement. The two were put in a lineup because one store clerk that we mentioned earlier remembered seeing a man and a woman prior to the bombing.
Right.
She would positively identify Clarence and Joyce as the people she saw. Now, Clarence's confession goes that 1 week prior to the bombing, he purchased the dynamite and slow-burning fuse from a farm supply store that was located on the outskirts of Portland. He offered his accomplice $10,000 of the $50,000 demanded in the extortion letter.
Well, that's pretty good, actually.
That's not bad.
For 10 racks.
That's not bad. The day before the bombing, he went and rented locker 1037 and set all the other instructions for the cash handler to follow. His initial plan was to try to collect the ransom money alone and have the money-filled suitcase dropped off on the back of a train. But he decided this wouldn't work because he would probably struggle to locate the part of the train that the money was on.
Listen, at least he can acknowledge his flaws.
Can you imagine? The train stopped, the money's sitting there, and he's like trying to feel around for where the fuck it is. Yeah. Anybody seen my cream-colored briefcase?
It's got my variety of walking sticks.
His accomplice assisted in typing up the extortion note, making sure it was all spelled correctly. The day of the bombing, Clarence placed 12 sticks of dynamite in a normal-looking shopping bag and placed it in the third-floor men's bathroom. He actually tried the 8th and 2nd floor bathrooms first, but they were both in use at the time.
Ah, single shitters, huh?
Is anybody shitting in here? Apparently, there was a man sitting in the third floor bathroom smoking, but Clarence said,
"My, it's smoky in here."
Apparently, this was enough for the man to put his cigarette out and leave.
I gotta get out of here.
How long has it been since you could smoke in a bathroom? You're just like chilling, smoking in a bathroom.
Oh, man.
My favorite is like old movies where people are doing it in school. It's like, what's going on here?
Or like walking around the mall.
Or on
There's
airplanes.
just ashtrays all over.
Hell yeah. Bring him. If our work bathroom, you could smoke in there still, like there'd be no shit smell at all. Just
Not
a cigarette smell.
Just beautiful marbs.
Clarence then felt around for the fuse, took a deep breath, and lit it. Clarence said,
"I prayed that nobody would be killed."
The extortion letter itself was dropped off at the customer service desk to be then handed to Aaron Frank.
I feel like sir.
Yeah, can you take my letter, please? After that was all done, Clarence and Joyce walked outside and waited for the explosion. Apparently, it was much louder than he had expected, Clarence said.
"The blast scared us both. Joyce saw the firemen carrying things down the ladder and thought they were bodies. She got sore as well as scared and told me that she had warned me against using too much dynamite. I hadn't meant the explosion to be so big either.
8
we
sticks.
quarreled."
12 sticks.
12 sticks. It's going to be a big one.
That's a lot of dynamite, sir. The two then headed to a cocktail lounge to enjoy a few drinks, but apparently Joyce was spooked and told Clarence she was done, and she left.
I want out, Clarence.
But Clarence carried on with the plan, making the call at 7:08 p.m. and so on. Without anyone to help him get the money now, Clarence claimed that he waited on the side of the highway in hopes of hearing the slow-moving taxi to flag it down and catch a ride. But obviously that didn't work.
That's ludicrous.
Hey man,
This guy's insane.
That's
dude.
fucking
he
ludicrous.
had a plan B.
He's so desperate.
You have to applaud that.
This is true.
He wants to see again.
I know, that's the saddest part. He just wants to take care of his family and fucking see.
He wants to earn so he can feed his 5 fucking kids.
The police were really perplexed why he told the taxi only 25 miles per hour, Clarence said.
"Joyce isn't a very good driver. I was afraid she might get into an accident if she had to follow a car that was going faster."
Oh my God, Clarence. Come on, dude. Actually, Joyce backing out of the plan was probably for the best because Clarence would have been caught immediately if he had tried to pick up the money.
Yes.
Either way, that December, both Clarence and Joyce were charged with causing injury to persons and property by unlawfully, purposefully, and maliciously setting off a bomb. Their bond was set at $75,000.
Dang.
It's more than he was asking for.
Listen, I just feel bad for that property that got injured.
That's like
Meyer and Frank? It was just the bathroom, I think, that got hurt.
I just think it's funny to say causing injury to property.
Maliciously setting off a bomb. I feel like
Yeah,
when you
that
set
part
off...
makes sense, Cody.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm like, every time you set off a bomb, I feel like it's kind of malicious.
Yeah, there's
Like,
evil
it's implied.
intent.
Yeah.
Every time you light a fuse, you know what's going to happen.
See that mountain? That needs a fucking hole in it.
All right, buckle up. We got to get sad for a minute. After his arrest, Clarence's family would begin to fall apart completely. His 5 children would become wards of the state.
Yay.
And his wife, Dorothy, voluntarily checked herself into a mental hospital.
Oh, no.
In January of 1956, Clarence decided to just plead guilty and demanded to be sentenced right away. But at first, the judge wouldn't allow Clarence to make a guilty plea, perhaps because his lawyer was attempting to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. But eventually the judge would allow Clarence to make his plea of guilty. He wanted to just plead guilty right away in hopes of leniency, but it might have actually made it worse because he received a 20-year prison sentence. Clarence said,
"This comes as quite a shock to me. I've lost everything. My wife, my children, and my freedom."
So, like, if he would have made a case for himself, he probably wouldn't have gotten the maximum.
Probably. He might have gotten something lighter. Because, I mean, obviously setting off an explosive and extortion's very illegal, but
that sob story would play well to a jury.
Get sentenced to 12, get out after 6 with good behavior, something like that.
I feel bad for this guy, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
It's this sad.
This is the American struggle, man.
It's true.
This is desperation.
He didn't ask to be blind, you know.
He didn't ask to be blind, and he didn't ask to have 5 kids. Yes, he did.
He didn't ask for someone to kill his fucking dog.
He didn't ask for that.
Now, about a month after he was subpoenaed to testify against Joyce, Clarence attempted to hang himself in his prison cell, but they found him in time to save his life. The following day, back in court, I couldn't believe this. He had a suicide attempt, and they immediately took him back to court.
Listen, he's in a good mental state.
Ugh. But when he's back at court, Clarence kept denying having any accomplice at all. Now, the judge threatened him with contempt of court, but Clarence stuck to his guns and kept denying. An extra contempt of court charge was nothing against his 20-year prison sentence. Because of this, Joyce would be freed from prison and not charged with anything. William Clarence Petticord would be paroled on April of 1966 after serving a 10-year prison sentence.
Oh.
He would die on March 25th, 1978 at the age of 59 years old.
That's young.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was not that old to have 5 kids and lived a hard life and went to prison.
That's how old my dad is right now.
But, it's 78. I mean, what was the average life expectancy?
Probably around what it is now.
You think so? 78?
It's still young, man.
Yeah, for sure. He had a hard-ass life, dude. Final thing. The 3 police officers involved in the arrest were Jim Quinn, Preston Hutchins, and I'm assuming Captain Brown died because the estate of Captain William Brown fought in court in an attempt to collect the $28,000 reward. They were unsuccessful.
Oh.
Yeah, you did your fucking job.
and that guy's dead, so you crackhead family members, you're not getting this 28 racks. Sorry.
Oh, God. But yeah, that's the story of the extortion letter bombing and Mr. Clarence Petticord. Very sad man.
Do you know what this story reminds me of, Cody?
What's that?
Do you remember that other one we did, the robbery?
Oh yeah.
This is I like these 50s whodunit hijinks stories.
I know.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
Like it was like I think Sunday night. I couldn't sleep. I was up reading through my books. And I found this one. I had seen it for a while, and I'm like reading through it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Who is this guy? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's a blind guy. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe he's the blind guy with like daredevil powers. And then you like keep going through his story, and I'm just like, Jesus, I feel really fucking bad for this guy.
Yep, for this would-be criminal mastermind.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like everything was just kicking him when he was down. Especially when I read the eye thing, I'm like, oh my God, that is so fucking sad.
That's the worst, man.
Yeah,
that's the worst. Cody, fantastic story.
Thank you.
Oh, loved it.
Thank you, guys.
Big fan of that one. If you have any stories about blind masterminds, you can send them into bumblebuttpodcast@gmail.com.
What's that, Adam?
bumblebuttpodcast@gmail.com. As always, you can follow us on Twitter @bumblebuttpod and on Facebook and Instagram @bumblebuttpodcast. We now have a Patreon that you can donate to, and that is patreon.com/bumblebuttpodcast. You can find all of these links in the episode description at any time you want. And now it's time for the most important part of the show, at least if you ask Cody, the iTunes reviews.
Yeah, we got one more review. Unfortunately, it's a non-written, but it is a 5-star. It is a 5-star.
Yay!
So our 5-star to other star ratios is like 99.5 to 1. So
excellent.
It's excellent.
I'll take it.
So yeah, thank you, whomever you are. I wish we could thank you, but thank you.
You know, somebody else we can thank is our new patron.
Oh, yeah. You remember our review from last week, Krista?
I absolutely do.
From Minnesota girl. Yeah, she donated to the Bowling for Satan. So,
the big boy.
Yeah, you seen the message about the fucking chocolate, right? Where she's like, I'm donating because of Ghirardelli chocolate.
Oh, yes. That's hilarious. Thank you very much, Krista.
Yeah,
thank you very much, all of our other patrons. And thank you, all of you. And thank you, Cody. And that's going to do it for me. Thank you, Adam. And that's going to do it for Cody. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you, Adam.
That's going to do it for Jordan. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Adam.
And that's going to do it for me. And that's going to do it for all of us here at Bubble Podcast. Thank you very much. And have a nice weekend, unless it's Tuesday.
Send me all your old baby clothes. That shit adds up.